Back to our top story now. The Labour Court has ruled that the intended protest action by union SASBO and COSATU is unlawful and cannot go ahead. Judge Hillary Rabkin Naicker says the two unions failed to comply with provisions of Section 77 of the Labour Relations Act. Earlier this week, Business Unity South Africa filed an urgent application at the Labour Court to interdict the protest action from going ahead.
In her ruling, Judge Naicker says any person who takes part in the protest action will not enjoy protection offered by Section 67 of the Labour Relations Act.
COSATU and SASBO are hereby interdicted and restrained from proceeding with, encouraging or enticing employees to engage in the intended protest action or any conduct in contemplation or in furtherance thereof, unless and until such time as they have complied with the Section 77 of the LRA.
Business Unity South Africa says it has always said that there's no need to disrupt the economy in this way when the net-led channels are open.
We have always said that disruption to the economy through any form of industrial action is not what the country needs right now, and we're happy that the judge has in fact put an end to this intended protest action, which we have always said was non-compliant in any event with the section. So we encourage social dialogue at NEDLEC, and we think the judge has reaffirmed that position.
SASBO and COSATU say this is not the end. They intend to appeal the decision. COSATU says it feels betrayed by NEDLEC, which was the third respondent in the case.
We expected them to come here and support what we have submitted or oppose COSATU, but they did not do that. So to us, it tells us NEDLEC, for us, its integrity or credibility is questionable.
In the meantime, Friday remains business as usual. Diabosito, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Right, let's get more on the story. Joining us now is the General Secretary of the South African Society of Bank Officials, Joe Kokela. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, take us through the difference between a strike and protest action and what you were trying to do.
Look, thank you very much. What we're trying to do is to go through the protected protest action. So the protected protest action, it speaks to Section 77. Which the judge has ruled on. So Section 77, it has its own subsections, which we believed that through the Federation, through COSATU, we really have complied to the Section 77 because of it is a protected protest action. So the protected protested action is the one that speaks to the national issues. And much as it speaks to national issues, it speaks to those issues that are those issues that you cannot resolve there and there, are issues that might take you some time to make sure that you get to the gist of the issues. Because of what we're talking about here, it's a socio-economic crisis. And in that socio-economic crisis, we're talking about the job losses. So much as we're talking about the job losses is something that we believe. It's something that it cannot be resolved there and there. It's something that it will take us time, but we were saying if we get it right, we have to start a dialogue that they will take us through with the employer to say to ourselves, how can we make sure that we protect jobs in this country? That is the protected protest action. On the strike follows Section 64 of Labour Relations Act. And usually the strike that is followed by Section 64, it's where we talk about the policies, it's where we talk about any other thing that has to do with a quick fix within the space of employment. And then in many times it's also been triggered by Section 189. So Section 189, when you look at Section 189, it usually speaks about the retrenchments. So there's three sections that are very important. It's 77, it's 64, then it's also 189.
Well, according to Section 77 and the judge, you are not allowed to take part in that protest action as you wanted tomorrow. What's next? Look,
we are a union, and being a union, we can tell you that this is a war. And we believe that Busa can be happy and whatever, but we think that they've just won the battle. The war still goes on. By this afternoon, we've already filed to appeal the judgment because we don't believe that the judgment was correct. But we respect the judgment as it was passed by the Court of law in this country. But we are challenging that judgment, irrespective that we're not given the full details of why this kind of a judgment was passed. Because of the judge has just said that she's just going to give us the verdict, and we'll get the reason later. But now, having listened to what he said and the order that we've received, we've concentrated more on the part of Section 77. So that's why we're appealing the judgment based on that. And the other thing is this afternoon we're also filing again to make sure that we submit documents again, renew to NETLEC to see if they will comply. Even if we know that BUSA is still going to do the same and sabotage and not want to support and also not want to be in the meetings where this Section 77 has to be addressed.
Okay. What were the reasons that you wanted to protest?
Look, the reasons were mainly four, especially for the side of the banks with the heading of the socio-economic crisis. So demand one, it was for us to say, how can we call for a moratorium into job losses because of jobs are going in the banks? And the second one, it was to say, how can we look at the salaries that the executive of the banks are earning, because of we believe as SASBO that it's out of order the way things have been done. The third one, we are looking at calling for just transition. In just transition, we are saying we want SASBO and our members to be part of the agenda in determining the future of the workers in the bank. The fourth one is about how can we, together with the banks, look at how can we develop the program that will talk to fourth industrial revolution. Because as it is now, the banks are going ahead retrenching people, but the banks themselves, they don't understand what does the future world of work entails. So that is a problem that we're facing as the country, and the judgment of today, it's unfortunate because of it says to us the banks can go ahead and retrench people even if they don't know. They themselves, why are they retrenching people?
Do you have specific numbers of these jobs that you say are going to be lost when it comes to the banking sector as a whole?
Look, for now, we can put our head on the block and say 4,500 jobs are out of the system as we speak. And as much as 4,500 jobs are out of the system, we are contemplating that there will be another 6,000 to 7,000 jobs that are coming. As per the consultations that we had with the banks have given us a number that goes to 10,000 plus of the jobs that will be lost in 2019.
Okay. Talk us through what your protest action was going to look like and how consumers at the end would feel that SASBO and its affiliates were on strike.
Look, what we're looking at tomorrow, we're looking at having the strike in all 5 provinces in the country. And I must say that the members, plus minus 45 to 50,000 members, have indicated to say that they were going to take part into the protest action. So that is what was going to happen, and that we were going to hand over memorandums. And in those memorandums, we would be calling for, one of the things we would be calling for social dialogue, because we believe that we have to sit down and talk. And that is why we are looking at saying we want the society to see and to support the good cause that we're doing for our members, because of our members are struggling in the banks.
Okay. You said you wanted protests in all 9 of the provinces.
Yes.
How are we going to feel that, who use ATMs, who use point-of-sale machines, how are we going to feel the effects of that strike?
Look, all that we're going to do, remember that we're calling for total shutdown. Mm-hmm. And total shutdown, it says to you there shall be no services at all. So the people that you see in the front line in the back office of the banks, they would be on a protest tomorrow if the thing has been gone through. And remember that the people who are mending the ATMs, it's our members that are in the banks. So those people will also be on the protest. Even those who are servicing the point of sales, which is the speed points and whatever. Okay. Those were the people that would be in a strike. So that is why we're saying those part of technology was going to be affected.
Very briefly, as we end off, people are saying that would create animosity. It would also show that there is a need for digitization and less people in the banks so that we wouldn't have those kind of shutdowns. What's your response briefly to that?
Look, very quick. I've got a mother who is 8 years of age. My mother cannot use a phone. We've got a lot of them that they go in queue, sit under the cold for their pension. And those are the people that are using the banks. So it can tell you that, in fact, if you really want to go pure digital as the country, in fact, we are even going to marginalize the poor people, because of now, when you start talking digital, it speaks to the affluent and it speaks to the middle class. So it means that banking going to the future in this country will only be for the rich people.
Joe Kokela, the General Secretary of the South African Society of Bank Officials, joining me in studio there. So thanks so much for your time on SABC News. It's time for a short break. When we come back, I'll have your final market update. Do stay with us on Point.